Hawaii had a rat problem, so humans brought in a predator that eats rats, and somehow the island ended up with rats and mongooses. That is not control. That is adding a second problem with teeth. The plan sounded clean. In the late 1800s, sugarcane was a huge crop in Hawaii. Picture tall cane fields, hot air, and rats hiding in the stalks like tiny crop criminals. Rats could chew cane, rats could damage crops, rats could multiply fast, so people looked for a natural enemy, and this is where the idea gets dangerously simple. If rats are eating the crop, bring in an animal that eats rats. No complicated machine, just release the hunter and let nature handle nature. Which is one of those sentences humans say before nature asks, which part of nature exactly? The mongoose looked perfect on paper, small, fast, sharp teeth, running through grass like it has an urgent appointment in a bush. To a sugar planter, the logic probably felt beautiful. Rat, mongoose, no rat, one arrow. Very confident, very clean, very wrong. Because an ecosystem is not one arrow. It is timing, shelter, nests, food, reproduction, and animals refusing to read the job description. The mongoose was introduced to Hawaii Island in 1883 and later to Maui, Molokai, and Oahu. The goal was simple, rat control, but the plan had a detail hiding inside it. A detail so simple it sounds like a joke. Rats are mostly nocturnal. Mongooses are mostly diurnal. In plain human language, the rats clocked in after dark, and the mongooses clocked in after breakfast. Imagine hiring a security guard to stop a thief. The thief comes at midnight. The guard arrives at 9 in the morning, stretches and says, "Where is everybody?" That was the mongoose plan. The predator and prey did not miss each other forever, but the schedule made the grand solution much less grand, and a hungry predator does not sit politely in a cane field waiting for management to provide the correct rat. It looks for lunch. That is where the story turns. Hawaii had native birds that evolved without predators like mongooses. Some birds nested on or near the ground. Some eggs were easy to reach. Some chicks had no old family training for small brown predators sprinting through the grass. So the mongoose did what a mongoose does. It hunted what it could catch. Birds, eggs, small animals, insects, reptiles, whatever was easier, available, and unlucky. The animal hired to reduce one pest became pressure on animals that had never applied for this job. And the rats? Still there. So now Hawaii had rats and mongooses. That is the worst kind of upgrade, fixing a leak by bringing in a second leak with legs. This is the core backfire. People wanted a rat control tool, but a mongoose is not a tool. A tool stays where you put it. A tool does not reproduce. A tool does not wake up and say, "Actually, today I feel like eating bird eggs." A mongoose absolutely can. Once mongooses were established, they became part of the landscape, running through grass, roads, forests, and fields. That is why the story is not just funny. The wrong shift part is funny. The result is not. Hawaii is fragile for native species. Islands can create animals found nowhere else, but that uniqueness comes with a weakness. If a new predator arrives, local animals may not be ready. They are not stupid. They are from a place where that danger was not part of the old rules. Then humans changed the rules. With a mongoose. For sugarcane. Because rats were annoying. Small sentence, large consequence. And this is where the mistake becomes clear. People looked at one relationship. Mongoose eats rat. They ignored the rest. Mongooses also eat eggs, birds, insects, and reptiles. They also spread, breed, and do not ask which species humans wanted protected. The plan treated the mongoose like an employee. The mongoose behaved like an animal. That difference is where the disaster lives. Picture the cartoon version. A cane field at night. A rat sneaks through the stalks wearing a tiny thief mask. Then the sun comes up. The rat goes to sleep. A mongoose arrives wearing a tiny security badge. It looks around. No rat. Then it sees a bird nest. The mongoose shrugs. Lunch is lunch. That is the joke, and also the problem. Because pest control is not just what an animal can eat, it is what it will eat, where it will go, and what happens when the plant escapes the field. On islands, what else is vulnerable can be almost everything. The sugarcane fields were not sealed boxes. The mongooses did not stay between the cane rows. And once they were out there, humans could not simply say, "Okay, thank you. Please return to the original project." There is no whistle that calls back an invasive species. No button, no undo, no polite memo, just years of trapping, monitoring, and trying to protect what remains. Kauai matters because it did not get the same established mongoose population as some other islands. Keeping them out became a serious priority. Before introduction, the question is simple: should we bring this animal here? After introduction, the question becomes, how do we remove a fast, small predator from an entire island? That second question is much worse. It is like dropping glitter into a carpet and recovering each piece with tweezers, except the glitter has teeth and babies. The mongoose story also shows why natural solution can be a dangerous phrase. Natural does not always mean safe. A predator dropped into the wrong ecosystem is alive, but that does not make it harmless. Humans wanted nature to solve a farming problem. Instead, they imported one piece of nature into the wrong place, where it connected through food, nests, movement, reproduction, and a very awkward work schedule. That is why this story is memorable. It does not need a giant chart. The failure fits in one sentence. The rats came out at night, and the mongooses hunted by day. But underneath that punchline is the bigger lesson. When humans use one living thing to control another, they are adding a new participant. And new participants do not follow the script. They find easier food, move into new spaces, and turn one problem into a different problem wearing fur. The mongoose was not evil. It was just good at being a mongoose. Fast, hungry, adaptable, persistent. The traits that made it attractive as a rat hunter also made it dangerous as an invader. That is the pattern. Humans choose a trait they like. Then the system shows them the same trait from the other side. Fast predator, great for rats, terrible for ground-nesting birds. Flexible diet, great if rats are available, terrible if eggs are easier. Small and mobile, great in cane fields, terrible when it spreads beyond them. Same animal, different context, completely different result. And the rats were still there. The mongoose did not replace the rat problem, it joined it. The solution became another problem next to the original one, so the plan was simple: bring in mongooses, kill rats, protect sugarcane. But the mongooses worked the wrong shift. They found easier targets. They spread into a fragile island system, and one clean arrow on paper became a whole broken web in real life. That is the lesson. Before you add a living solution, ask what else it might eat, where else it might go, and what happens when it stops behaving like equipment. Because the mongoose was hired for rats, the island gave it options. If you like this one, the next video is right here. Go watch that. And as always, let me know what you think down below. Thanks for watching, dummies. I'll see you in the next one.